Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Mark. This is Spiguyver Backpacking. And today we're going to address a question that I keep getting asked. And so I want to just put it out there and make sure that everyone understands the why. So today what we're going to talk about is why I am using the hammock or hammocks and tent that I'm currently using. What led me to that, and why is this, for me, a better choice than what I had been using? So let's get into it. Let's go. All right, so anyone who's been following the channel for any amount of time knows that I was, at least for a long period of time, a pretty diehard ultralighter. I still consider myself to embrace a lot of ultralight tendencies. And I think that, my history with ultralight helps me to know where I can cut corners and where I can't cut corners. And I don't mean cut corners as in doing things that's dumb or unsafe, but it's where can I get away with things that are lighter than what other things might be, or lighter than what other people might be using, or just lighter in general. But at the same time, I think over the last year or so, you've seen me start kind of drifting towards some of the comfort things. And, it's no secret that as years go by, each and every one of us gets older. But when you combine that with medical issues or past injuries or things that just aren't as good on each of us that they were when we were younger, things start to take their toll. And if you find things that make what you love more comfortable and more enjoyable, it's going to allow you to get out and do them more often. I don't ride a bike anymore. I've told this story a lot of times. The Shill brothers had me on. We've talked about, at one point in my past life, I was a professional mountain bike racer. I don't even ride bikes anymore. And a big part of it is due to injuries that I sustained and the pain that I have when I actually do ride. Now, like a lot of people out there, I deal with pain on a daily basis. But there are things that you can do when you have anything that hurts. There are things you can do that don't bother it as much as other things, and there are definitely things you can do that bother it a whole lot more than other things. And so when we're talking about hammocks and we're talking about my evolution from extreme ultralight gathered in hammocks to the luxury UL that I've got from Townsend, we're talking about really two vastly different spectrums there. And the number one reason is comfort for me. And the comfort comes from my shoulder. So left shoulder, I've had 4 surgeries on it. I crashed a mountain bike, had to have the first surgery. I had to have another surgery when I screwed up a little bit after that. Third surgery was I was closing the canopy of the plane I was flying. Gust of wind caught it, ripped my arm completely out again. I had to have my biceps tendon relocated right here. So bicep no longer is attached to the shoulder, it's attached to the bone on my upper arm right here. I've got a lot of arthritis. I just had a surgery, I guess it was probably about a year ago now, to go in and clean up some of the bone spurs that I had and some of the cartilage or some of the arthritis that had developed in my shoulder. I've got enough bone degeneration that the next surgery that I'm going to have on my left shoulder is going to be complete shoulder replacement. And so there are certain things that I found that really bother me. And a gathered in hammock has become a nightmare for me. I no longer can get comfortable in one. I can get comfortable enough to fall asleep, but I can't stay asleep. I still like hammocks, but now I'm really gravitating towards the bridges. And even though I like the banyan, it's not quite wide enough. I do have rather broad shoulders, and so the banyan is not quite wide enough for me. That's where the Townsend comes in. And it's also why I've actually reverted back to buying a tent and using a tent occasionally, is that when I'm on the floor, it's a lot like sleeping in a bed where I can be completely flat, have my arms out, and not have anything scrunching me up. It's the being scrunched up and having my shoulders pulled in that really starts to bother that left shoulder. And so for me, it's been really a big change to go from what I loved and what, you know, you guys are used to seeing me in, and having like the lightest weight, you know, going from really the lightest weight fabrics, the smallest package you could possibly go to going to what I'm in now. Now the weight penalty is definitely there, but I've said this in videos before, that weight is not as important as a good night's sleep. If you are carrying a super light backpack, but you don't sleep the night, your next day or 2 days later, the hike is going to be much more difficult than if you were carrying, you know, a couple of extra pounds. Because we're not talking about I'm tripling my backpack weight. I'm adding a couple of extra pounds to carry the comfort that keeps me not in pain, not in as much pain. Like I said, I'm in pain every single day. I wake up in pain. I'm in pain right now. Certain movements definitely exaggerate the pain. Certain things I do, you know, it's kind of a funny thing. You know, working out, it hurts to work out, but if I don't work out, the arthritis and everything else is going to get worse, and so the pain's going to be worse. So I deal with the pain of working out and pushing through it, knowing that it is a help. And, you know, when I go out backpacking, I want to, you know, carry those extra pounds, those extra couple of pounds, to have that good night's sleep so that the next day I can get up, throw the backpack on, and not be in so much pain that I can't hike. I have literally had days out there on the trail after using a gathered end that I could not use a trekking pole in my left hand because just swinging my arm hurt so bad. And so that's why I've had to make some adjustments. And I implore everybody out there, do what's right for you. Just because, you know, I'm talking about a certain piece of gear, or Shug talks about a certain piece of gear, or whatever other big YouTuber out there or celebrity that you know uses Arc'teryx or North Face or, you know, Mountain Hardwear or whatever it may be. Do what works for you. I've said that all along. You know, it's kind of that hike your own hike thing, but do what works for you. Figure out what works for you and do what works for you. You know, I just released a video talking about how expensive winter hiking is, and a little bit of it was sarcasm. You know, it was, yes, it's expensive, but I'm going to use most of what I've got and get it done and go out there and have fun and enjoy it. And it's not about spending all the money. It's not about getting the pieces of gear to do it, but it is making sure that I'm safe, I'm remaining as pain-free as possible, and then I can go out and have fun. And that's the thing, is if you're having fun, if you're enjoying it, if you're avoiding pain, you're going to get out and you're going to do it more, and it's going to be more enjoyable. So there you have it. If you guys have any questions, any comments, leave them down below. If you're dealing with pain, if you have had to make sacrifices and change things due to, you know, injuries, old injuries, lingering injuries, things that you're dealing with, let me know about them. Let's talk. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you down the trail.